All right, welcome back to this week's Trifecta Nutrition Talk. And today, we are going to talk about rituals. Jog my memory. Are we going morning this time or nighttime rituals? What are we doing? Morning.
Could be AM.
Are we doing PM or AM?
AM is what?
Okay.
AM.
I think I think what would be really cool is we're gonna start with Adrian, and it'd probably be cool to know our own rituals, what we're doing, and kind of what we're coaching, and things we kind of see that way. So I know Adrian, you probably have the most regimented morning ritual ever. And I've been watching some of your stories, and I've seen some things that you do consistently and things you kind of add on. And I see them, and then I don't see them for a little bit. So what are you doing right now, and what's your always?
Or I don't film them. It's one of the two. Or I don't film it.
That could be it too.
That could be it too.
What are you doing?
The staples always are like three things. So I always make sure when I get up, I drink a huge glass of water, usually with some sea salt in it, after I brush my teeth. That's huge. And for some reason, people mess that up. So I'll drink that, and then I try to get Graminos in at some, like, that varies, whether I chug it, whether it takes me all morning, but I like to get liquid in first. Then I do some sort of journaling for like 5 minutes. I study my calendar for a minute, like literally just look at my calendar, like what I have going on that day. I just call it studying my calendar. So that gives me like efficiency, and then either meditation, breath work, or visualization. And it seems I could make that an hour or 10 minutes or 5 minutes. It's like whatever I feel like I need the most. Like if I wake up super, like I've got a lot of shit going on, like I probably need to journal more and actually meditate and study my calendar to make sure I have everything like organized. So I try to just like prime my brain and my body for whatever is going to be coming at me that day. And I know that hydration and getting like liquid nutrients is huge. And then breath work or some sort of, just to like calm my system down if I wake up slightly elevated, or just to focus on what I need to focus. And then studying my calendar, that just helps me like kind of a quick little over glance of the day. Because I can miss a meeting or something, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's very easy to do that. I think with most people, this could help. And then outside of that, I have the journaling. And I coach my clients on, like, it depends if they're into the mindset stuff. I won't do that unless they ask for it, but I always try to get early morning hydration, Graminos, basics for the morning.
We're going to save the worst for last, Janice. I'm referring to myself. We're saving the worst for last.
Yeah, but you have kids. Like, that's a total – here's the thing. Like, I'm in a unique situation. Like, I don't have children. So, like, that puts me at a totally different place than most people. I don't have to, like, be responsible for little humans. I have responsibility for my dogs, but they're, like, not that much to handle. So I think it's totally different if you're a parent.
Yeah, it is, but it's only as difficult as you sometimes
right.
You can't things. What are some of the other things you're adding? I see that early AM burn.
So it's a supplement by Prestige Labs, and it's basically a glucose disposal agent. It's not a fat burner. They call it that, and I wish they would call it something else. It has a ton of garlic in it, berberine, cyanide 3. Biotest used to have this. Remember that Indigo 3G that was like $80? It is actually more, it has more of that stuff in it, which is a huge glucose disposal agent, just as potent as berberine. So it has garlic, some green tea, a lot of like glucose disposal stuff. So basically anything I'm taking that morning. Garlic is really good for antiviral, antibacterial, and just anti-inflammatory actually. So all of those things it kind of covers. So I'm just kind of like getting that in. And my supplements, they cycle continuously, whether I'm going to be on something like that, or like if I cycle into a nootropic for 8 weeks or something like that. Like right now I'm on a nootropic that helps with verbal fluency. So because I'm talking a lot more than normal, and I can jumble my words really quickly. So if I'm on a podcast or I'm doing something live or I'm consulting for long, I mean, you know, this long period, you're just talking, like you can just, unless you do it a lot, it refines itself. But sometimes if you talk too much, you can like talk yourself in and out of things.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Is solid food in your morning routine, or is your next thing you
Yeah. No, that's definitely. So the next thing is right after that. I have about a half a bowl of oatmeal, half a cup of oatmeal with 2 scoops of protein. So I get roughly 30 grams of like carbs, and at least like half of that's from soluble and insoluble fiber. And then on top of that, I'm getting 50 grams of protein. Protein and oats. It's easy to digest. When I do that, I just notice every day that I do that, I have a pretty good on my macros for the rest of the day, because it's easier for me to hit my protein. And early in the morning, keeping that side, like the fiber, just keeps my insulin nice and steady all day long. So that's pretty much it. I mean, it's just taking me like a really long time to kind of narrow it down to the things that work for me. But those are the big levers, I would say, for sure.
Yeah. Janice, what are you doing in the morning? Because Janice comes in here bubbly in the morning.
I'm not, it's funny. I am pretty bubbly. I think a bubbly person, Matt, at all times of the day. So I'm not like an early bird by any means at all. So 6 o'clock in the morning, not my thing. I wake up, I roll out. 7 a.m. is usually, unless like I have to coach. But my morning is pretty much like I literally hit the ground and pretty much run. I have done the Gramino since day one. So literally I started something different though with brushing my teeth. I actually do like scraping my tongue. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Yep.
So I brush my teeth and actually like scrape my tongue and kind of like get like your taste buds like fresh and clean and ready to go. Since we've been back to the gym and doing, I've definitely taken a lot more care with vitamins and multivitamins. So now I've been taking, I do like the sea salt and lemon, which I've been doing for a couple of years. And then I take my vitamins. So I do a woman's essential vitamin. I do my fish oil. I do ALA, and I do CQ10, which I just started with those. I've been feeling pretty good. Kind of get that going. And then actually before I eat or do anything, I'm usually like putting a load of laundry in. I like to get like, I like to do like certain, like I feel like in the morning, like I like have my kitchen has to be clean. There's certain things in my house that kind of just like clear my mind. So if things are all around, it kind of gets me like completely in a disarray. So I do some like odd, like 5-minute things, throw a load of laundry in, empty the dishwasher, I pull whatever we're going to have out for dinner. And then I found that like the paper calendar book is actually what works best for me. So although I do good stuff on Google Calendar, I typically before I go to bed, look at my calendar, and then in the morning, I look at like what was in writing and then like what's really going to happen for the day. And then I start playing and moving things around and then kind of just like setting my day up that way. But typically I'm from there. I'm usually off to the gym. So I don't do any mindful type of breathing or taking any time to actually journal or any of that stuff. I tend to actually spend more time on myself in the evening. When my kids go to bed and when I have time, it's usually more of my reset happens the night before, because I know my mornings can be unpredictable. Like my son today was like, oh, he thought he had a ride for soccer and he didn't. So there you go, like stuff just changes and you're like, okay, now I'm going this direction and not that direction. So I kind of try not to make my morning like too long of a routine, because it usually can change directions without out of my control. So I don't put a lot of focus in there.
So now are we ready?
We're ready, Matt. What do you got?
Well, my day, unlike your guys' day, I start every morning where I have to be doing something at 6 a.m. I have to. So I'm committed to doing something each and every day. All right. So whatever I'm doing has to happen by 6 a.m. All right. Except for on Tuesdays, because Tuesdays are daddy daycare. That's today. Daddy daycare today. But it's only daddy daycare in the first half of the morning. So how this usually works in the morning is I get up and I check my calendar immediately. The first thing I do is try to get whatever I got last night on my reminders in my iPhone. I put on my reminders, and Coach Steve A actually taught me about the reminders. So I put everything in my reminder the night before, and then in the morning, I start trying to say, what am I actually going to do today, right? That happens before I get up out of bed. That's my first alarm if I even do wake up to an alarm. I set alarms. Sometimes I wake up way before my alarms. So that's the first thing that happens. I get up. I don't brush my teeth, but now that I'm hearing that you guys are brushing your teeth first thing in the morning, I do
You
that
brush your teeth first thing in the morning? What?
before I leave the house first thing in the like. If I have to be here at 6, my teeth are brushed before I leave the building. But I don't brush first thing in the morning. Either does Laura. Should we all be brushing first thing in the morning?
You do you eat, so wait, do you eat before you actually brush?
I eat before I brush.
You know, I grew
Okay,
up
hold on.
like
So I'm gonna interject on that one.
I grew up like that though.
Someone helped coach me out of that habit too. So I'd say 10 years ago, I used to do the same thing. And the bacteria that sits in your mouth overnight, if you don't clean that out before you swallow the first thing in the morning, because that stuff, I mean, your mouth's just a hotbed of bacteria. You can swallow and start having gut health issues from the bacteria that sits in between your teeth, on your tongue, all that stuff. It can get really gnarly, and you're swallowing like basically dirty bacteria every day if you don't brush your teeth before you eat.
That's why I scrape my tongue, dude.
Yeah, and that's just like it's a good.
Adrian's trying to give me advice, and Janice is hawking me at the top of the screen, just grilling me, and like give me this little smirk, like. I will start brushing my teeth first thing in the morning starting tomorrow.
No, so because I did the same thing. I would like eat this was like a while ago. I'd make an egg McMuffin in the morning for myself. This is like a decade ago before I leave the house with like a coffee, and I would just I would eat something before that, and I brushed my teeth before I left the house. But my nutrition coach at the time was like, "That's gross," and I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "Because the bacteria that's sitting in your mouth are just And then I like read up on it because I was like, "Is he just like trying to like get on my case?" And I read up, and it's totally true.
Yeah, but I think we all grew up like that because I remember
We did, yeah.
But
It wasn't like a thing.
Though? I also remember as a kid, we had orange juice was like a staple in my house at breakfast time. And
you didn't want to brush your teeth.
Dude, do you ever brush your teeth and drink orange juice? It's like
no, it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
So it made sense to me. Like you eat, and then like you get all that stuff cleaned out, and like your orange juice doesn't taste like dog shit. And but yeah, I guess I don't eat much in the morning either. So I'm not saying like I'm a genius here. It's just like I'm not a big eater in the morning anyway. So I like get in there, do my thing in the bathroom. I don't have an actual true tongue scraper, but I've heard so many good things about it. I think I'm going to buy one.
Definitely get one.
Yeah.
They're great.
Matt, you going to get a tongue scraper?
Matt, so what are you doing at 6 a.m.? Like what goes on with you?
Yes.
Coaching. 4 days out of the 5-day week. So 4 of those days I'm actually actively coaching.
Okay.
So whether it's online or whether it's in the gym, so I'm not in the gym every day, but I am coaching someone. 4 days at 6 a.m. So most of the times I'm not eating yet, but what I will do is make sure. So when I go downstairs and I haven't brushed my teeth yet, not yet. So I'll go downstairs. The first thing I have, because I do have time, is I drink a small cup of coffee. It's just a regular mug of coffee. It's not a Yeti. It's not like anything huge. It's just literally one mug of coffee. And I drink that pretty quick because I put some Natural Light, the creamer in there, and I put a little bit of, I'm bougie, so I put a little bit of sugar-free butter pecan syrup in there from some vendor that Laura found, and the syrups are pretty good. So I just put like a teaspoon in there, and I drink that pretty quickly. So I have that cup of coffee. The next thing I have is now I do fill up a Yeti with my greens and 5 grams of creatine. So I do that first thing, and then I go brush my teeth. And if I still have to finish my drink on the way, then I'll finish my drink. So I'll go brush my teeth and leave for the day. Now, most of the time, depending on when my workout is, I may go home and usually, so this is still I still consider this my morning, because if it's my morning routine stretches, so that's like first thing in the morning. Then I'll go home, and I usually always have the same. My breakfast is pretty much always the same. It used to be protein and oats, and I've been thinking about going back to that. But I stay pretty low carb in the morning, so I'll have some eggs, some bacon. I had some tomatoes today. And yeah, that's all I had. That's all I've had this morning. And then I came to the gym. It's crazy because I still think this is like morning. I had some clients. So my very next meal, so this is it with my morning routine, was actually after I did those farmers carries with them. I came in and I had a bar, but I'm already like almost like 80, 90 grams of protein deep by now. So, I mean, that's pretty much like what happens. Like that's always my morning right there is that's what I do every morning. As far as my supplements, when I go home and if I eat my breakfast, then what's happening then is I am taking my multivitamin, then taking 10,000 units of vitamin D, taking like
Yeah.
spoons of
Fish oil.
and now just because they sent me a bunch of bottles by mistake and I have nothing to do with them, I'm actually taking the wrong living's deer antler. And I noticed that like since I have so much of it, you could take it 2 in the morning, 2 at night if you're coming back from injury or you're coming back from a surgery or something. And I've been taking 2 of those in the morning and then 2 again at night. And I generally do feel better. I don't know if it's a placebo from taking that stuff, but I had it, so I just added it in. Normally I wouldn't take that, but I had.
How long have you been taking that like that for?
I haven't been doing the deer antler for very long. That's literally like 2 weeks.
Do you think that could have been the marker that changed your sleep because now you've like caught up to it?
It could be because it was over the last 2 weeks actually.
Yeah.
A lot better. And they normally only recommend you take 2 in the morning, but like I said, if you're coming back from some kind of trauma or stress, they do suggest taking 2 in the morning, 2 at night. And that's what I've been doing only because I have a ton of it and I didn't pay for it. Is the only reason I'm taking so much of it. And normally I wouldn't take it. And I have been taking it. Like I remember when we used to deal with that company, Janice, you remember, right? But I haven't, so since we were into deer antler, you're on mute by the way, so I'll just keep on talking over you.
No, I love the deer antler. I did that from the Lurong, right?
Yeah. So, and I actually, you know what? I actually was a believer then in it. And I have been feeling really good over the last 2 weeks. But that's it as far as my ritual, and that's all my supplements. Like that's everything. And I try to, I was just having a conversation today and talking about morning habits. I was just talking about like foundational health. Actually, with a young nutrition client of ours, and she was with us for 4 weeks. Then had a bunch of vacations. So she's like, what do I do now? You go back to step 1. Are you hydrated? Are you sleeping? How are your nutrients? Right? We always start out at phase 1 because if you're not there, you're just spinning your wheels at the other stuff. So it's like the morning part of it. Think about how much stuff we all just covered in our morning routine.
Oh, I knock out 80. I tell everybody you should be able to knock out literally like 80% of your nutrition within the first hour of you being awake. I mean, I'm talking like getting it going. Like you should at least have like 1 meal prep that you could bring with you, your water to go, like your greens, your base supplements, like that should be handled within the first hour of your day.
You're right. If people would just get their morning routine right, if they would just be able to handle the first 3-4 hours of the day, they can make themselves, give themselves a lot of progress with just
big
that.
time.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, for me, my routine is better at the evening to prepare me for my morning. So that's also the other thing. It's like, some people get home at the end of the day, they're completely exhausted. So their nights are shit, but they're better in the morning. Other people, it's like, they don't know, maybe they have kids or running out to work. They don't know what their morning could bring. So if you're always waiting to be like, hey, I'll wait to do it in the morning, that's not always necessarily the best thing either. But also one thing I realized from a lot of my clients is that simplicity they think is too easy. So they're looking for it to be harder. So you can set things up and you say, well, what if you did this? And they're like, really? Like that would work? Well, yeah. So if it seems too easy, sometimes people are like, I don't know if that's really like doable, because they want it to be like a fucking challenge, because they also think like, well, why haven't I been doing something this easy all along?
It's really hard. That's why it's really hard to create a habit, one that actually stays with you no matter what. Nothing can shake you of it. It's really hard to do that. That's why.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that too is having to do with the concept of like clearing the path. So like if you have a path for a habit, I've seen that most people, like, they have this idea of what the habit is, and then there's like 30 things in front of it that are unclear. So like you
Yeah.
should do one thing the night before. So since I am a morning person, I have to do something the night before to clear the path. So maybe that's making sure my laptop is out with my journal books, like literally right here, making sure that's out for me. So when I sit down, my path is clearer. Right? What if this isn't charged and I have to wait for my then that, like, it's a pattern interrupt, right? So it's like it's like, hey, I need you to drink water. Well, that means I'm gonna have to tell you to literally every night your Nalgene bottle has to go into the fridge with cold water filled. That would be like clearing the path, right?
Yeah.
But people, they just want to drink water all day. Well, how are you gonna do that? Do you have, like I was telling you, Janice, you have multiple waters in your
Yeah.
car, at work, like multiple containers. It's one simple habit, but there's multiple things that can get in the path. Like both you guys with kids, I can get thrown out the shitter in a second. So it's
Yeah.
like, do you have all of these backup plans in place for you to make that one habit like successful?
Right.
And it
Yeah.
doesn't
That's
have to
what
be hard. Just clear
I
the
mean.
path a little bit, you know?
I think that's one element that we don't talk about. And the big thing that I definitely learned that from you, Adrian, but the big thing that I've learned, what I give the most to my clients, is sitting down with them right away and finding out their schedule. I'm not going to tell you exactly what you should eat, but I can help you figure out a way to figure out how you can get it in, and finding those little like opportunities to like get more hydration in. Or you know, I have a client right now who, she works in a restaurant, so her schedule like long term, like crazy hours, just like mine has been. And you know, she doesn't know like when she's going to get an opportunity for nutrition in. And like, hey, I'm like, you can do 3 things at night, put it in the fridge in a freaking take out, you know, bag that you can put in the fridge at work, and you're ready to go. So whether you work out before or you work out after, you have that stuff with you. You're already, so then the stress levels go down too, because you're prepared, you know. But if you just do that 3-second step the night before, it's not a meal prep. It's just making it
Path
available,
clearing.
ready to go. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Just
But I
making the
think
path clear.
that's not something that we talk often about. And Matt, I don't know, like how do you work it with clients? Do you work a lot with them, like on schedule? Like on
Yes,
their schedules?
I do. I do, only because, so I'll look for times that they actually are able to eat, right? So if that's a block to them, they don't have time to eat. Then we got to start to work on, can they take in a little more quantities when they can eat, right? So I'm pretty,
Yeah.
I can do 5 or 6 eggs with 2 or 3 pieces of bacon, and that is easy for me to eat. I could probably do more at one time if I know that I have a lot of work to do. I'm not going to be eating for a while, but you know what? That was something I had to get used to because of my schedule, right? And I get it. So we got to find a way for these folks to get it in, and some people. So it's also, are you PRing the amount of calories you can eat in one meal? For some people, you know, can we
Yeah.
do? People get really full off of like 450 calories, 400 calories. It's like, well, can we do 6? Can we do 650? Like, let's see if we can build some bulk in there, because a lot of people just aren't hungry either, right? They're
Yeah.
hungry. Then you just have to try to force them to eat in those windows, and place things in those windows. I haven't had too many people with schedules like that, to be honest. Most, I don't want to say my folks are easy. My folks are very easy to work with. I feel so
Well, I
lucky.
think because yeah, but I wouldn't, I'd also say that you're a good coach. So it makes it easier. You're clear with them. But I think what you're doing really well that a lot of coaches miss is you're staying within their routine already. You're not creating a new eating pattern, a new window. You're like, okay, cool. Let's see what's already working for you. I love that. I do the similar thing. Like if it's in a meal, can we stretch that just a little bit more? Like, let's
Yeah.
not create different meals and different snacks and all this other stuff. Let's take what you're already doing and can we just broaden it and just stretch it a little bit? But those,
Yeah.
we know that these cumulative efforts add up.
Oh, 100%.
That extra egg, that extra thing, that it's going to add up. So I love that coaching that you're using, because it's such a great thing, because you're not making it harder for the client by creating this whole new routine, this whole new thing for them where they can fit in something that they're already doing and just make it a little bit better per meal.
Yeah, because even
Yeah, so that,
I mean,
go ahead, Matt.
there are some people that they may have time. They don't like to eat in front of other people.
That's true.
Like, there's also people like that. We don't realize how many people are out there like that don't like to eat in front of other people.
Yeah.
And we have to deal with that. We have to, be aware of
It's a
that
really
also.
good point.
Especially with younger, I work with some like younger clients, and that's an issue for them. What are they bringing to school? When are they eating? Are they eating it? Are they allowed to eat something like this in class?
That's true.
I had a program around a lot of different quality peanut butter and jellies at one time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly.
It's true. It's true.
And I introduced people to Nuts and More, which was a cool company. Some kids that are true peanut butter fans don't enjoy it too much, but it's like, hey, we got to give and take a little bit. You tell me you'll eat peanut butter and jelly if that's what you're going to eat, because that's easy for you to eat. You can eat it real quick. It looks normal for other people. Let's make it the best peanut butter and jelly we can get for you. Let's put it on Ezekiel bread.
Yep, Ezekiel bread.
Some Nuts and More peanut butter on there that has a little whey protein in it. Like, let's do something like that. I mean, you got to, again, Janice made one of her, it was her story. She said, meet them where they're at.
Yep.
Where they're at,
Yeah.
Definitely.
So that, Adrian said that last week when we talked, and like, it's kind of, I think, a mentality where I've always thought is like, what I know works, what we know works, we could prescribe somebody something. If they're going to stick with it, we know it's going to work, right? Any diet or any kind of program we put them on, it's going to work. But are they going to stick with it? And one of my clients is not really big into eating whole foods or eating enough. And it's been a cycle in her life for a long time. So her goal for the week, I looked at, basically had her journaling, and her goal of, in that journal, she didn't know why she was journaling. We pulled out and I said, okay, look, the second meal of every one of your days, it looks to be your best meal. And we talked about why it was her best meal. And then I said, okay, like, your goal this week is one meal throughout the whole day. I want you to balance your plate. And then she's not tracking using MyFitnessPal, so we did handheld measures, talked about portion sizes, talked about what's appropriate. And she said, I don't think I can get one meal in. And within 20 minutes of our meeting, she sends me a pic, like, here it is. Like, that was her meal, and she did it, and it was like, if I can build that into what she's already doing, that was already a pretty good meal. She has another meal of the day. That's a pretty good meal. If I can get her 2 balanced plates right there and a little bit of workout nutrition, like, it's going to be a game changer for her. And also understanding what food does for her. She has a fear of food. So finding someone's schedule, and like Matt said, you find their best meal and you find their worst meal, and you don't always hone in on the worst one. You hone in on the best one. Give them the good feeling about it, and then you tweak it. And then you find their second best meal. Yeah, and then you tweak it.
Exactly. So. All right. Well, listen, I think morning routines are important. I think people picked up some gems. They're going to mold some of them, probably least like mine, more like you guys. But morning routines are the best. And I think definitely for next week we should compete.
Nighttime routines. Yeah.
Nighttime's big too, and we can make a lot of headway with that also. So, and I know we have really, really cool stuff for nighttime, so I'm looking forward to it. But
awesome.
Until then, I'll see you guys next week.
All right. Sign off. Bye, guys.
Bye.
And I'm not off here.